So I was with a friend today and I was fascinated by how many girls he was able to sleep with, given his age and given his looks. So he wasn't necessarily a good looking dude. He's a bit older, mid 40s. But he seems to sleep with a hell of a lot of women, and pretty hot women too. So what is it about him that can help him get laid? He's not rich. He's not got status. He's not handsome. He's not tall. So he doesn't really have any of the obvious things that you would think a man requires in order to be attractive to women. But he does have one thing. And that one thing seems to be working absolute wonders for him. And that one thing is confidence. Now, this guy is one of the only people I know that will literally walk up to girls in any scenario. Any scenario. On the street, outside a shop, in a bar, in a restaurant, anywhere. In a grocery store, like literally anywhere that he is, and he quite fancies a girl, he will say something. And I found that absolutely fascinating. Because he didn't necessarily need to say anything spectacularly smart. He didn't have any revised lines or chat up lines or things that he would always say. He never really said the same thing. Just kind of said what was on his mind. And it all kind of came from a level of confidence. So, just to give you an example, he walked past a girl today while I was with him. And he said to her, if I had a body like yours, I'd be wearing the same sort of dress. And whatever, no, it wasn't necessarily the best line, but it's charming to a degree. Makes her feel good. You never know what mood the girl is in. Maybe she's in a good mood and she's like, oh yeah, thanks for that. And then on that occasion, he decided not to follow up. But on many other occasions, he does follow up and he just ends up having a nice friendly chat. And then getting a phone number and then, sending a message. And either they respond or they don't. And if they don't, then he moves on to the next. So I just found his game fascinating. And this is a man who is, and he tells me, because he's a good friend of mine, sleeping with a lot of women. A lot of women. And when I mean a lot of women, I'm probably thinking, I'm probably going to say about, one or two different women a week. Could be talking about 8 to 10 girls a month. 100 girls a year. If he's been doing this for 10, 20 years, imagine that. He's doing it for 10 years, there's 1,000 women. Doing it for 20 years, there's 2,000 women. Imagine this guy, since he was 22, slept with 2,000 girls. Now he's like 42. Now, I'm not saying that's the be-all and end-all. I'm not saying, oh yeah, you need to sleep with women to get your validation. No. The point is that his sexual market value isn't even that high. But his confidence has helped him get to the point that he's at. This guy is able to sleep with hundreds of women over the past few years, purely out of confidence and just walking up to people and not being scared. Just being easy and also being outcome independent. Listen, if it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. He moves on to the next one. And you'd be surprised how women kind of sense his confidence and energy. And because women are not getting approached enough by men in today's world, because men seem to be ever more scared to approach women, not sure why, it's beyond me. So when the occasional guy does walk up to them, they think, oh, finally I'm getting some attention. And you could be that guy. So listen, you don't have to be 6 foot, absolutely ripped to shreds, have $1 million in the bank, and be absolutely gorgeous with an amazing face and an Adonis type body. You don't necessarily need to have that. It'd be wonderful to have all of the above. And I've worked my life to have all of the above. And luckily I have some of them, if not all of them. And that does help your sexual market value. But he ends up sleeping with more girls than I do. Because he's confident as hell and he just goes for it. And I might be walking around thinking I'm the man and having too big of an ego and not having the same level of confidence and not getting the same results on some evenings. I mean, some evenings it works for me, some evenings it doesn't for him. You know, it's like it's either works for him or it doesn't, and it works for me and it doesn't. But the point is, we are both two men that are trying to find a good woman, so we're confident enough to approach them. Now, he seems to be a lot more interested in sleeping with lots of different women, which I don't think is necessarily the answer to your happiness. But if you slept with no women or very few, then obviously you want to ramp that up. But if you slept with a bunch of women and it's not something that you're necessarily pressed on, which is the case for me, really. You know, when you get to a certain age, you're like, okay, look, I've had a fair amount of fun, I've racked up a fair amount of women. I don't need to have any more to increase my validation. So, you know, ultimately, I hope this video was short and sweet and really just goes to show that confidence is all you really need if you want to get laid and you want to sleep with a hell of a lot of women. So don't get too caught up and upset that if you don't have the other things. Confidence you can really develop. Really think about that.